Fill a glass from your kitchen tap, and it looks like the most regulated thing in your house. Now open the annual water quality report most people never read, and the story gets less comforting. More than 160 unregulated contaminants have been found in tap water, while the EPA regulates just over 90 contaminants total under its national primary drinking water standards. The unregulated list is longer than the regulated one. So the hidden toxin may not be hidden because nobody detected it. It may be hidden because no rule forces it into a warning you can actually use. And yes, there is a fast, low-cost move you can make in about 60 seconds. But it is not a miracle $15 gadget that removes every scary chemical ever named. The real fix starts with knowing what you're trying to remove. The word that stops most people from asking questions is legal. When a water report says your water meets legal standards, that sounds like the end of the story. It feels like somebody tested the water, compared it to a health line, and said, "You're good." But a legal contaminant limit is not the same thing as a pure safety limit. A legal limit can reflect a cost-benefit compromise, health evidence, treatment technology, utility cost, feasibility, and whether regulators believe the evidence justifies a national rule. The EPA has reviewed more than 35 unregulated contaminants, including sodium and the explosive compound RDX. In most cases, the decision was that there was not enough evidence that regulating them was worth the cost, not a finding that they were safe. That is the core distinction. Safe and legal are different words, and a water report only has to satisfy the second one. That does not mean every legal water supply is dangerous. It means compliance answers a narrower question: did the utility meet the enforceable rule? It does not always answer the question you care about at the sink: is this the lowest risk water my household can reasonably drink? And sometimes there are two sets of numbers. The Environmental Working Group has pointed out that EPA legal limits are frequently hundreds of times higher than health-based standards recommended by scientists and public health agencies. That does not apply identically to every contaminant everywhere, but it creates a real consumer problem. You may be shown the legal number, while the stricter health-based number is somewhere else, or not presented in a way most people would recognize. That is how a report can be technically reassuring and still leave health questions unanswered. Now here is what the hidden toxin claim really means. It is not necessarily one mystery substance lurking in every faucet in America. The issue is a category of contaminants the EPA has found but never set a limit for. At least one such substance has been detected at levels that could affect health in the water of 61 million people. Nearly 16 million of those people were exposed to possible or likely carcinogens. Those numbers matter because this is not just a paperwork problem. A contaminant can be detected, measured, and present at levels that raise concern. But if there is no enforceable federal limit and no clear reporting requirement that puts it in front of consumers, it can remain hidden from the person drinking the water. Hidden does not mean imaginary. Hidden can mean unregulated. Hidden can mean buried. Hidden can mean reported in a table full of abbreviations, ranges, units, dates, footnotes, and confidence intervals that make your tax forms look like beach reading. Most people do not have a water chemist at the kitchen counter. They have a PDF, a glass, and maybe a vague memory that the city said everything was fine. That is the gap. If you do not know what is there, you cannot choose the right test, the right filter, or the right response. So before the $15 action, go to the document your utility is most likely already sending you. Your annual water quality report. If you are on municipal water, search your city or utility name plus water quality report or consumer confidence report. Most people have never opened theirs. That is not a character flaw. These reports are not exactly written like thriller novels. NRDC has described a pattern where utilities routinely bury problematic contaminant data deep in the report, while broad safety generalizations appear up front. The criticism is that these reports can function more like PR documents than consumer warnings. That does not mean every utility is intentionally deceptive. It means the structure can reward reassurance before detail. So read yours the right way. Do not stop at the opening message saying the water meets or exceeds standards. That sentence is often about compliance. Keep going until you find the contaminant tables, detected substances, monitoring results, violations, footnotes, and notes about unregulated contaminants. The front is the handshake. The tables are the conversation. Look for the contaminant name, detected level, legal limit, goal level if listed, likely source, and whether there was a violation. Also look for words like detected, range, average, MCL, MCLG, MRDL, and unregulated. You are not trying to become a lawyer. You are trying to make the report usable. And once you see the pattern, the question becomes, why does this gap persist? Part of the answer is incentives. Water utilities are monopolies responsible for protecting consumers. You generally do not shop for a different city water provider the way you switch cereal brands. That makes regulation and reporting especially important. At the same time, utilities have been lobbying the government to restrict contaminant regulation to a case-by-case basis instead of regulating chemicals by groups or mixtures. The concern is simple. If each chemical is treated alone, individual chemicals can slide under a limit even when the combined mixture is harmful. One ingredient may be below a line. Another may be below a line. But people drink the mixture, not the spreadsheet. That does not prove criminal intent. It means the rules of measurement can shape what gets counted, enforced, and ignored. And the early warning system has delays. The EPA's Unregulated Contaminant Monitoring Rule, known as UCMR, was expected to release critical nationwide data on 29 FAS compounds by early 2025. As of the reporting, there was no clear timeline for release. That kind of delay can slow health officials' ability to respond. Think of it like an early warning dashboard lagging. Not that all monitoring has stopped, but that important information is not arriving when expected. Then there is perchlorate. Perchlorate is linked to rocket fuel, and it shows how long these fights can drag on. The EPA initially agreed in 2011 to set a limit for perchlorate. Later, the agency reversed course. A federal appeals court has since ordered the agency to follow through. That does not mean perchlorate is in your water unless your local report or testing supports it. The lesson is that the government knows about it and there is a clear enforceable standard protecting consumers right now are not the same statement. Now, private well owners need a different mental model. If you are on a private well, the city water report is not your safety net, because you are not in that system. Over 15 million U.S. households run on private wells. Private well water is not regulated by the EPA, CDC, FDA, or any other agency named here. The property owner alone is responsible for water quality. That does not mean well water is automatically bad. It means you need testing, records, and a maintenance routine. The practical takeaway is simple: your response has to match your water. First, identify your water source. Second, if you are on municipal water, open your annual water quality report and look past the front page reassurance. Third, if you are on a private well, your first move is appropriate testing through a local lab or a test suited to the concern in your area. Fourth, only buy a low-cost filter or test if it is certified or appropriate for the contaminant actually at issue. Look for independent certification language, such as NSF/ANSI style standards, and read what the product is actually certified to reduce. Match the tool to the contaminant. That is the whole move. If you want, comment whether you are on municipal water or a private well, and whether your report lists anything you do not understand.